Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to morning Bhagavatam class. This morning we will be hearing from Srila Prabhupada, Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse 21. And we request devotees to please do kick up your volume because the recordings sometimes tend to be a little soft. So without further delay, we will start the lecture by Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Shiyante Chiyante Chasya
Karmani Drishta Eva Atmani Ishvare Vidyate Hridaya Grantesh
Hridaya Granthesh
Chidyante Sarva Samshaya
Chiddante Sarva Samsaya
Chiyante Chasya Karmani
Chiyante Chasya Karmani
Drishta Evatmanishvare
Dishta Evatmanishare
Vidyate Hridaya Grantesh
Hridaya Granthesh
Chidyante Sarva Samshaya
Chiddante Sarva Samsaya
Chiyante Chasya Karmani
Chiyante Chasya Karmani
Drishta Evatmanishvare
Drishta Evatmanishare
Vidyate Hridaya Grantesh
Vidyate Hridaya Granthesh
Chidyante Sarva Samshaya
Chiddante Sarva Samsaya
Chiyante Chasya Karmani
Chiyante Chasya Karmani
Drishta Evatmanishvare
Drishta Evatmanishare
Vidyate Pierced Hridaya Heart Granthi Knots Chidyante Cut to pieces Sadve All Samshaya Misgivings Shiyante
Chiyante
Terminated Cha and Asya
Asya
His
He
Karmani
Karmani
Chain of fruitive actions Drishta
Drishta
Having seen
Eva
Certainly
Certainly
Atmani Unto the self
unto the self
Ishvare Dominating Translation Thus the knots of the heart and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions or karma is terminated when one sees the self as master.
Vidyate Hridaya Granthi Chiddante Sarva Samsaya Chiyante Cha Asya Karmani Drishta Eva Atmani Ishar. This is complete liberated stage. In the previous verse, it has been spoken Bhagavad-Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayat. The science of God, Bhagavad-Tattva, the science of absolute truth, becomes manifest to the liberated soul. We find sometimes that one man is posing to have very much advanced in spiritual understanding or a great devotee, but Mukta Sangha, he is not Mukta Sangha. He cannot give up smoking bidi. You see? These are the small tests. One who has actually tasted spiritual life, his unwanted things of life would at once diminish. There is no need. Anartha nivittisya. Anartha. Anartha, things which are not wanted, which has no meaning. So, Mukta Sangha means no material attachment. That is Mukta Sangha. When one is actually liberated, these are the signs. Vidyante hridaya granthi. Our material life begins by a knot in the heart. What is that knot? That is sex desire. This is the knot. A man is hankering after a woman, and a woman is hankering after a man. This attachment is the beginning of material life. Everyone, not only human society, in animal society, in bird society, in beach society, you'll find this sex attachment. This is the Hridaya Granthi, beginning. Therefore, according to Vedic civilization, the first teaching to a student is to give him lesson how to become Brahmacari, how not to become attached in sex life. That is called Brahmacari. Tapasa Brahmacharyena. Tapasa, to become Brahmachari, to become abstinent from sex life, it requires tapasya. It is not so easy thing. Tapasa brahmacharyena. Damena samena. One has to practice how to control the mind, how to control the senses. This is brahmacharya. Tapasya, it requires tapasya. At the present moment, the students are, what to speak of tapasya, they are given all kinds of luxuries. So how there will be brahmachari? It is not possible. Especially in the Western countries, the boys and girls, they are educated in one place, co-education, and they live in the same building, and there are so many things you know better than me. So there is no brahmachari. There is no brahmacharya. That means the knot in the heart, sex desire, is more and more increased. It is not decreased. But if one takes to Krishna consciousness by practice, one comes to the point of giving up all these unwanted things. Chiddanti, viddanti, hridaya granthi. I have several times explained to you that this knot of the heart is the sex desire. Pungsang striya mithuni bhava. Sex desire mithuni bhava metam. Tayo hridaya granthi. And when they are actually united, that knot becomes more and more tight. But if one takes to Krishna consciousness, then gradually vidyante hridaya granthi, that knot, sex desire, that is the test. Whether one's sex desire has diminished, that is the test. Vidyante hridaya granthi. Vidyante hridaya granthi chiddante sarva samshaya. Samshaya. We are now in hazy conclusion what is our position. We do not know. We do not know what is God, what I am, what is our relationship. Everyone is speculating. Therefore there are so many parties. The Jnani party, the Yogi party, the Karmi party, generally, and within each and every party there are hundreds and thousands of parties. So when one actually becomes free from the knot, or the knot is cut off, the attachment for material desires is cut off, at that time he can understand what is his position. What is his position? Therefore, two things must go on in parallel line. One side, a person should cultivate Krishna consciousness, and another side, he should try to give up all the unwanted things that will help him. You cannot continue both the things. Just like when a person is diseased, he is given medicine, at the same time he has to act, not to take this, not to take that. That is the way of treatment. Not that whatever you like you can eat, whatever you like you can do, at the same time you become spiritually advanced. This is all nonsense. Tapasa brahmacharya. One has to practice tapasya. Tapa. Tapa means a little inconvenience, voluntarily accepting inconvenience. That's like Brahmacari lie down on the floor. A sannyasi also, they follow the same practice as far as possible, taking bath thrice daily. And so many rules and regulations are there, but at the present age, it is not possible to follow all the rules and regulations, but at least everyone who is interested in advancing in Krishna consciousness must rise early in the morning, before 4, and take his bath and become clean, perform Mangalarati and study. These are tapasya. Tapasa brahmacharjina samena damena va tyagena. Tyagena means renouncement. I like something, but voluntarily I should give it up. That is called tyag. Of course, one who takes to Krishna consciousness seriously, Krishna helps him to become qualified in these matters. So, vidyati hridaya granthi chiddante sarva samsaya. Now, unless one is taken to this Krishna consciousness practice, he has got so many doubts. Why I shall do this, why I shall do that. But when he is raised to the platform of goodness, as it is expressed, mukta sangasya jayate, Bhagavad-Gita Vijnana, when he understands the science of God, automatically he becomes disinterested with these unwanted things. Chiyante cha asa karmani karmani niddahati kintu cha bhakti bhaja. We are bound up in this material existence due to our karma. According to my past karma, I have got this body, and again, as we are acting in this body, I am preparing forward my next body. Karmana daivanatrena. We have got varieties of body. Varieties of body. Not that because we are all human beings, we have got common factors, 2 hands, 2 legs, 1 head. But each body is different from the other body. You won't find one pair of body exactly of the same nature. That is not possible. Because everyone's karma is different. Karmana daivanatrena. According to our karma, we get different types of body. So we have to stop this karma. We have to stop this karma. How you can stop this karma? Jagyarthe karma annatra karma bandhan. If we simply act for Krishna, then we get rid of the resultant action of karma. Jagyartha karma. Whatever you do for Krishna. Jagyartha. Jagga means Vishnu. Krishna is the origin of Vishnu Tattva. So, whatever you are ordered to do for Krishna, you are not bound up by the karma. Otherwise, good or bad, you are bound up by the resultant action of karma. So, when one is actually in the liberated stage means to remain fixed up in devotional service, Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata. Otherwise it is not possible. Evang prasanna manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga. You can stand liberated on the platform of devotional service. As soon as you deviate from devotional service, immediately the Maya is standing. She will capture you. You can see practically there is sunshine, and just next to the sunshine there is darkness or shadow. So, little deviation from the sunshine, there is shadow, and little deviation from this shadow, you go to the sunshine. That both things are side by side, Maya and Krishna. Maya means absence of Krishna. Shadow means absence of light, sunshine. So if you always keep in Krishna consciousness, there is no shadow of Maya. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Andhakar. Jaha Krishna taha nahi Maya Rodhika. Krishna is just like sunshine and Maya is just like darkness. So wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be any possibility of darkness. So you keep always yourself in Krishna consciousness, then there is no possibility of Maya. And Maya means to engage in fruitive activities. Titiya karma, karma sangha anya titiya shakti rishyate. Maya, so long we are in Maya, we have to engage ourselves in fruitive activities, karma. Therefore, here it is said, Chiyante cha asa karmani, one who is liberated, being engaged in devotional service, his karma, fruitive activities, stop immediately. In the Brahma Sangita, it is said, Jastindra gopa matavendra maho sakarma bandhanu rupa phalabhajana matanati karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajang govindamadi purusam tamahang bhaja. Just to Indra. Indra means the king of heaven, and there is another Indra, Indra Gop. It is an insect, very small. That is called Indra Gop. So, it is said, beginning from that Indra, the king of heaven, down to this Indra, the small insect, Jastindra Gopa Mathavendra Maho Sakarma. Everyone is enjoying suffering according to the karma. That Indra, the king of heaven, you can become the king of heaven provided you have got a mass of pious activities you are promoted. Just like if you have got sufficient education, you can become high court judge. It is not very difficult. Similarly, this Indra, Chandra, Brahma, big demigods, they have got all these posts on account of their great pious activities, punya karma. And similarly, the hogs and dogs and other animals, they are due to the papa karma, impious activities. So both of them are resultant action of our karma. So everyone is suffering or enjoying the resultant action of his karma. Justindra gopa matavendra maho sakarma. Bandhanurupa, bandhana, as he is bound up by the resultant action of karma. Bandhanurupa phalabhajana mat. They are getting different results of their karma. It is very easy to understand. But for the devotees, it is said, karmani niddahati kintu cha bhakti bhaja. Bhakti bhajang, those who have taken to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, their karma is cut off. There is no resultant action. Just like chickpeas. Chickpeas, if you sow on the ground, it will fructify into a plant. But the same chickpea, if it is fried and you sow on the ground, it will not fructify. So our karma should be fried up by devotional service, then it will not produce any result. And Krishna also says in the Bhagavad-Gita, aham tang sarva papibha mokkhasya. So there is no resultant action of a devotee's activity. Therefore here it is said, chiyante cha asa karmani. Unless you have completely finished your resultant action of karma, you cannot be promoted to the spiritual world. You have to accept a type of material body. So long karma will go on. Therefore, in another place, Bhagavat, it is said that people are engaged as karmis, and Rishabdev says, na sadhu manne. One is engaged in karma, it is not very good. Na sadhu manne. Jato atmanayang asannapi klesadayasa deha. By karma only, we are getting different types of body. Although it is temporary, but as soon as we are encased in this body, we become subject to threefold miseries of life. So, for a devotee, there is no more karma, or there is no more material body. Krishna also confirms in the Bhagavad-Gita, takta dehang punarjanma naiti. After giving up this body, a devotee, he does not get any more birth in this material body. Takta dehang punarjanma naiti. Mameti. In his spiritual body, he comes back home, back to Godhead. So, the same thing is expressed here. Chiyante cha asya karmani drishta atmani ishare. He sees atmani drishta. He realizes his relationship with God, Ishare. He realizes that I am eternal servant of God, eternal servant of Krishna. Jiver Sarupa Nitya Krishna Das. He realizes it. And because he realizes it, he engages himself in that way And that is the perfection of life. Viddante hidayagranti chiddanti sarvasangsaya chiyanti cha asakarmani drishta eva atmani sare. Read the purport.
Attainment of scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead means seeing one's own self simultaneously. As far as the identity of the living being as spirit self is concerned, there are a number of speculations and misgivings. The materialist does not believe in the existence of the spirit self, and empiric philosophers believe in the impersonal feature of the...
This is doubt, whether there is soul or not. Chiddante sarvasangsaya. There are so many doubts for the material scientist. Somebody says there must be something, somebody says no, there is no soul. It is the combination of matter, the life symptoms come out. There are so many theories. So, actually when becomes enlightened by Krishna consciousness, his all doubts are removed. Gone.
And empiric philosophers believe in the impersonal feature of the whole spirit without individuality of the living beings. But the transcendentalists affirm that the soul and the supersoul are two different identities qualitatively one.
This is also another doubt, because the impersonalists, they think ghatakas patakas. That's like the sky is within the pot and the sky is outside the pot. So when the pot is broken, the inside sky becomes one with the outside sky. That is their theory. So these doubts are also dissipated when one comes to Krishna consciousness, that these potakas means the sky within the pot, ghatakas, and the sky within the pot, it cannot be made analogy with the sky in the pot and sky outside, because they are individual souls. In the Bhagavad-Gita it is said that they are part and parcel of God, Sanatan, eternally. Not that they have been cut off. Just like the sky within the pot is walled by the wall of the pot, but actually we are not walled, we are individual. Every one of us an individual. We are not surrounded by some material wall. This material wall is supposed to be this body. Actually, we are individual, and therefore, because we are individual, according to our individual karma, we have got different types of body. So these are the doubts. When one becomes completely, cognizant with the Krishna consciousness science, his all doubts are removed, gone.
There are many other things, but all these different speculations are at once cleared off as soon as Sri Krishna is realized in truth by the process of Bhakti Yoga. Sri Krishna is like the sun, and the materialistic speculations about the absolute truth are like the darkest midnight. As soon as the Krishna sun is arisen within one's heart, the darkness of materialistic speculations about the absolute truth and the living beings is at once cleared off. In the presence of the sun, the darkness cannot stand, and the relative truths that were hidden within the dense darkness of ignorance become clearly manifested by the mercy of Krishna, who is residing in everyone's heart as the Supersoul. In the Bhagavad-Gita, Bhagavad-Gita 10:11, The Lord says that in order to show special favor to his pure devotees, he personally eradicates the dense darkness of all misgivings by switching on the lights of pure knowledge within the heart of a devotee.
This is another advantage of the devotee, because Krishna shows a special favor to the devotee. Although he is equal to everyone, he is specially inclined, favorable to the devotees. Tesam aham anukampartham aham ajnana janatamo. He takes special care. He says, samohang sarvabhuteshu, although he is equal to everyone, still he is specially inclined to the devotees. For the devotees, he gives special instruction from within. Jena mam upajantite. This is the special advantage of a devotee. Go on.
Therefore, because of the personality of Godhead taking charge of illuminating the heart of his devotee, certainly a devotee engaged in his service in transcendental love cannot remain in darkness.
So there is no question that a devotee will remain in darkness. Sometimes it is argued that mostly devotees are not very much educated. It doesn't matter. These external academic education has no value for spiritual advancement. So here it is said, aham nasayami atmabhavastha. Krishna is within everyone, and if anyone is purified, Krishna takes charge and he instructs. And who can be greater instructor than Krishna? Therefore, it is a wrong theory that devotees are ignorant. They are full of knowledge. If one is actually a devotee, there is no lack of knowledge. That's a fact. One.
He comes to know everything of the absolute and the relative truth. The devotee cannot remain in darkness, and because the devotee is enlightened by the personality of Godhead, his knowledge is certainly perfect. This is not the case for those who speculate on the absolute truth by dint of their own limited power of approach.
Yes, one can speculate about the absolute truth to a certain extent. Therefore, generally, these speculators become impersonalists because they cannot go beyond that. But that impersonal knowledge is not complete. As we have several times stressed on this point, one has to go further onward. Realization of Paramatma, realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they stop only in impersonal view, that's all. Go on.
Such knowledge is called parampara, or deductive knowledge, coming down from the authority to the submissive oral receiver, bona fide by service and surrender. One cannot challenge the authority of the Supreme and know him also at the same time. He reserves the right of not being exposed to such a challenging spirit of an insignificant spark of the whole, subjected to the control of illusory energy. The devotees are submissive, and therefore the transcendental knowledge descends from the personality of Godhead to Brahma, and from Brahma to his sons and disciples in succession. This process is helped by the Supersoul within such devotees. That is the perfect way of learning transcendental knowledge. This enlightenment perfectly enables the devotee to distinguish spirit from matter, because the knot of spirit and matter is untied by the Lord. This knot is called ahamkara, and it falsely obliges a living being to become identified with matter. As soon as this knot is loosened, therefore, all the clouds of doubt are at once cleared off. He sees his master, and fully engages himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, making a full termination of the chain of fruitive action. In material existence, a living being creates his own chain of fruitive work, and enjoys the good and bad effects of those actions, life after life. But as soon as he engages himself in the loving service of the Lord, he at once becomes free from the chain of karma. All his actions no longer create any reaction.
Yes, sir. Have Kirtan.
So here we had a really amazing class by Srila Prabhupada, and it's really, really amazing how Srila Prabhupada just cuts everything through with such simplicity. And is like, duh, and it just makes all the complete sense. Every time I hear Srila Prabhupada's lecture, it's one that we can go back to so many times and get so many realizations, for our personal growth. So I would like to ask devotees if you have any takeaways from this class, any sharing, any any realization. One that I really liked, and I put in the chat, and I want to share with everybody is our karma should be fried up with devotional service. I love that so much. I think that is put so nicely where Srila Prabhupada was comparing the frying of the chickpeas, and so he was saying that our karma should be fried up with devotional service. So that is definitely an amazing point that Srila Prabhupada is saying, that it is that the more service we do, the more we are cleaning our hearts and and shedding our karma from so many lifetimes, so many baggage. So that was one that I really love. Would like to ask devotees. I think Brenda said that she likes that as well. Yes, it's powerful, really powerful. Would devotees want to share anything else? Their feedback, their realizations, their takeaway from this amazing class? Any thoughts about it? Yes, dear Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Accept
All
mine.
glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Yeah, one point about, I think that almost in the beginning of the class, Srila Prabhupada was mentioning that it's just not that the do's, but we have to also follow the don'ts to advance. So that was pretty good, because just like he gave the example of the doctor, just taking the medicine is not enough. We have to also follow the restrictions that he gave with the medicine, that only eat at certain times, this particular time, after food or before food, whatever restrictions he had. So that's a very practical point.
Yes, sometimes we just focus on the do's but not the don'ts. Just in life in general. But yeah, that's such an important point, is the do's and the don'ts, both that go hand in hand. Thank you. In fact, the do's and the don'ts is so much, pretty much our Vaidhi Bhakti, following the rules and regulations that are given to us to discipline ourselves, to, as Prabhupada says, to burn the karma by devotional service. So yes, thank you so much. Anyone else have any thoughts to share? Any reflections or realizations? Okay. If there isn't, I want to thank devotees so much for hearing this amazing class, and want just to remind you, tomorrow morning's class is a regular time. It's going to be given by Vishnugata Prabhu at 8 o'clock. So please do log on. Until then, have a wonderful day. Vanchakapatibhyascha kripasinabhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Have a wonderful day, devotees.